The Eagles got a huge win on Sunday Night Football. There's a lot to break down on both sides. We're going to get into it here in this segment, including what the Eagles defense did to stop that high-flying Dolphins pass game. But we're going to start on the offensive side of the football, where Dallas Goedert, he was able to celebrate National Tight Ends Day with a trip to the end zone. This 19-yard completion on a screen pass from quarterback Jalen Hurts. Now, let's go to this play. You can see that the Eagles are in a 2-by-2 set here. A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert to the bottom, and then you've got Devontae Smith and Olamide Zaccheaus at the top of the screen. Now, what the Eagles are doing here is running a quick, simple jailbreak screen where Dallas Goedert's going to work upfield for one step, and then he's going to break inside to catch this pass from Jalen Hurts. Now, the reason why it's called a jailbreak screen is that you've got your offensive lineman on that side releasing immediately out into space. You can see Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, they are not going to try and block anybody on that side, instead choosing to release up to the second level. Now, one of the most important parts of a screenplay is making sure that you block the defender that is responsible for your intended target. So you can see that this defensive back at the bottom of the screen, he is going to be responsible for Dallas Goedert. So it is A.J. Brown's job to make sure that he blocks this corner on the outside. That will leave just the safety to that side of the field to be able to get Dallas Goedert to the ground as long as A.J. Brown is able to make this block. So who's responsible for blocking the safety? Well, that is going to be Jordan Mailata's job. He's going to be one-on-one. Keep in mind, this safety is about 200 pounds. Jordan Mailata's got at least 150 pounds on him, which means a lot going into contact. But in space, that defensive back is smaller, more athletic, and has that ability to run around any kind of block from Jordan Mailata. So he has to be very smart with how he approaches his angle to block this defensive back. So what does Jordan Mailata do? Instead of releasing immediately up to the third level and allowing the safety to kind of circle him and get back around to stop Goedert, what does he do? He gets flat to the line of scrimmage. He's running parallel to the line of scrimmage, and now that allows him to turn and make sure that he's got a really good angle to serve as a lead blocker for Dallas Goedert. Goedert does a great job after the catch of setting up this block. He plays off Jordan perfectly, and he takes this 19 yards into the end zone. Great job by the Eagles offensive coaching staff. Great play call against a cover zero blitz, running this jailbreak screen. Great job by Dallas Goedert with the ball in his hands, and of course Jordan Mailata and A.J. Brown out in front. The Eagles score the first touchdown of this game and get things rolling. Now, when you've got a great tight end, yeah, it's great to have them down in the red zone like we saw in that play, but also important to have them on third down as well, and that's exactly where Dallas Goedert is going to make his impact. On our number 4 play, it's 3rd and 8, and the Eagles offensive staff drew up a perfect play call to defeat this coverage. Coming into this game, the Eagles had the number 1 third down offense in football. They did a great job of converting, whether it's 3rd and short, 3rd and medium, or 3rd and long. And here, the Eagles come out in an empty set. This is a very important tool for their offensive personnel because it allows Jalen Hurts to be able to survey the defense so that an empty set, meaning that he's by himself in the backfield, really forces the defense to declare what their intentions are. And really what you can see is you have DeAndre Swift up at the top of the screen, and who is across from him? That's a linebacker. So that gives Jalen Hurts the thought right away that this is man-to-man coverage, because if this was a corner out here in DeAndre Swift, well, you'd be wasting a corner against a running back. That would mean that you'd have a linebacker one-on-one against a wide receiver. So right away, Jalen Hurts has an idea that this is going to be man coverage. Now, what kind of man coverage is it going to be? Well, when you've got these 2 high safeties here, the threat, especially on 3rd down, exists that this is going to be a bracket coverage, meaning you have essentially 2 double teams against your 2 top receivers. And that's exactly what the Dolphins do on this play. You can see at the snap of the football, when Jalen Hurts drops back, look at the eyes of the safeties. You've got 2 sets of eyeballs on Dallas Goedert on one side and another 2 sets of eyeballs on A.J. Brown on the other side. And one good way to defeat a bracket is to run away from the double team. So you can see here that the Eagles are actually running a mesh concept. Basically, it's a way to defeat man-to-man coverage by having your receivers run crossing routes to create interference for one another. And I want you to watch A.J. Brown because he does an outstanding job here on this rub route. Look at the angle A.J. Brown takes. That's the defender that's responsible for Dallas Goedert in man-to-man coverage. That's safety over the top. He's going to help with any vertical route, but since Goedert is running away from that bracket, now it's essentially one-on-one. And that DB, he's got to make sure he stays on Goddard's hip pocket. But look at A.J. Again, he is running square at that DB, and at the last minute, he's able to stick and avoid him in space. There's no contact. There's no offensive PI. Outstanding job from A.J. Brown. Then you get the ball from Jalen Hurts. It's right on the money to Dallas Goedert. Now look at Devontae Smith at the bottom of the screen. He was running an intermediate route on top of that mesh concept, and now he knows he becomes a blocker. And look at him boxing out here. He's creating a little bit extra space for Dallas Goedert to be able to get an explosive play in the pass game. This is so well executed. It's a perfect play call by the coaching staff against the bracket coverage. It's great execution from A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and Dallas Goedert. The protection is outstanding as well. You can look here on the end zone angle, and the Miami Dolphins, they're doing some unique things from a front standpoint. You've got two defensive ends on one side of the formation. You've got two athletic defensive tackles on the other. They're running a stunt here, a long stunt. So the Eagles offensive line, they pass things off. It's a perfect pocket for Jalen Hurts. He's able to deliver, and Dallas Goedert turns it into an explosive play. His first of two 22-yard completions on that opening drive. The Eagles get points. Momentum starts. Great job of the Eagles attacking the Miami Dolphins on third down. Now, on that play, we saw Dallas Goedert creating with the ball in his hands, right? We saw a great yards after catch example. That just so happens to be what the Miami Dolphins offense has been so good at throughout the course of this season. Coming into this game, the Miami Dolphins averaged over 7 yards after the catch per reception, way out in front of the rest of the NFL. In this game against the Eagles, they averaged under 2.5 yards after the catch per reception, just about 5 yards a pop. That is a huge, huge difference in the ability to create these explosive plays. The Eagles defense did a great job of maintaining Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, and the rest of this skill talent for Miami in the yards after the catch department. And that was a big reason why they were able to keep a lot of these explosives off the board. And this is a good example of why. Because remember, this is a team effort to stop an offense like the Miami Dolphins. So it's 1st and 10, and what you're going to get here is a play-action glance route. It's basically a long slant route from wide receiver Tyreek Hill off a play-action fake in the backfield. So you see Tua, he's going to use that play-action fake, but watch linebacker Nicholas Morrow. He's not going to bite too hard on this run fake. Instead, he's going to get great depth here. He's going to get to his landmark right where that glance route is going to open. Tua has nowhere to go with this football, so he now has to check it down, which is okay for the Dolphins. It's been a very successful formula so far for them this season. They have made a living off getting some of these checkdowns and turning them into explosive plays, whether it's been with Raheem Mostert, the rookie Devin Achane, or with Salvon Ahmed, and that's who catches this ball here in the flat. You've got Ahmed one-on-one with a defensive end, Hassan Reddick, in space, and Reddick does a great job. He takes a great angle and makes a tackle on an island and gets the ball carrier to the ground. That was a great example of a tackle one-on-one, but the Eagles did a great job of rallying to the football, containing, not being too aggressive. They did a great job throughout the course of the night on multiple occasions of getting these ball carriers to the ground and not letting Hill and Waddle and the rest of these guys tear them up after the catch. It was one of the huge reasons why the Eagles were able to come away with a victory. And honestly, it showed up in the run game as well. The Eagles did a great job of limiting explosive plays in the rushing attack. Raheem Mostert could not get going, especially in the second half. You saw Hassan Reddick and Milton Williams and Jordan Davis and everybody flowing to the football. Josh Sweat, extremely active once again. So this Eagles defense, they did a great job of limiting yards after the catch in the pass game and yards after contact in the run game. Huge reason why they were able to come away with this victory. Let's now get to play number 2. And we have to go back to the offensive side of the football and have an A.J. Brown conversation. We already saw him make the block on the screen pass. We saw him set the perfect pick for Dallas Goedert on third down. Now he's going to be on the receiving end of a big play and a near touchdown from quarterback Jalen Hurts. And A.J. Brown is going to be the initial target here. He is the first read for Jalen when he drops back to pass. Look at where Jalen's eyes go. He immediately is looking at this slant route to A.J. Brown. It was a very popular route for them in this game. They hooked up 4 or 5 times on a very similar route concept. And you can see at the bottom of the screen, the Eagles are actually running the same exact concept. This is called mirrored route concepts, where you're running one two-man combination to one side, another two-man combination to the other, and it's exactly the same. So really for the quarterback, you're kind of picking your matchup and reading the strength of the defense to tell you exactly where you want to go. He starts here on A.J. Brown's side, but you can see they've got 3 defenders over 2 receivers, and they pass these routes off. Jalen Hurts does not throw this ball, and he's smart in not doing it because you've got a defender right in the passing lane, where if Jalen had cut this loose here, that might have gone the other way for an interception. Here, he smartly says, you know what, I'm going to get back to the backside. Now, what happens when he gets his eyes back to his second read? He's got pressure in his face. The Miami Dolphins ran a stunt off the left side, so you've got a defensive tackle bearing down on him. So now, Jalen has to get in creation mode, and this was a great scramble from Jalen, running away from an athletic defensive end, a former top 5 pick in Bradley Chubb. He breaks contain, runs outside the pocket, but he keeps his eyes downfield, and you have to credit A.J. Brown for making himself available, because when you bring this back, again, A.J. Brown, he knows he doesn't get the football here, but he does not give up. This is something that is practiced basically on a weekly basis for all offenses in football. Pro, college, high school, you go at every single level, you have to go through the scramble drill. All of your receivers, your tight ends, your backs, they always want to make sure they're on the same page as your quarterback when he breaks contain and runs outside the pocket. We know that's such a big part of the Eagles offense, and here, A.J. Brown continues to make himself available. He puts his foot in the ground, breaks back towards the sideline, works vertically up the field. He runs away from coverage. Jalen had his eyes up and delivers this ball about 6 inches short of the goal line for a touchdown. This goes 32 yards. Jalen Hurts runs it in on a brotherly shove on the very next play, and the Eagles extend their lead. Outstanding job from Jalen Hurts, and A.J. Brown on this play becomes just the second receiver since the merger in 1970 to have 125 yards in 5 straight games. A.J. Brown on an absolute tear. Jalen Hurts delivers in a big way. Now, that brings us to our number 1 play in this breakdown. And what was the big question coming into this game? With the injuries in the back 7, how would the Eagles be able to contain the likes of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and this explosive passing attack? Well, the Eagles did it by really throwing a lot of different things at quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, and this was a great example on 3rd down. Because what you're trying to do in these high-leverage moments is just put a little seed of doubt in the quarterback's mind, and you can do it in a lot of different ways. Here, you can see the Eagles are lined up in what is called a double mug front, where you've got 2 linebackers right over the center. This is a very popular pressure look, and the Eagles do it very well here on this play with both Nakobe Dean and Zach Cunningham lined up over the center. So that immediately sets off alarm bells in Tagovailoa's head, because let's rewind back to last week. It was the number 1 play in our breakdown where the Eagles, they've kind of established what that 3rd down identity was, right? You had stunts up front with 5-man fronts, and you've got man-to-man coverage on the back end. That was something we had seen it being a consistent theme over the course of the last few games. So Tua, he sees this pressure look up front. He sees what appears to be press man coverage on the outside, and he says, you know what? This is probably going to be man-to-man coverage. This is probably going to be some kind of a pressure look here from the Eagles after the snap. Now, let's get to the snap. Well, Tua catches the ball, and what happens? Both linebackers retreat. The Eagles are playing not man-to-man coverage. They're instead playing cover 2. Now, if you're the Miami Dolphins and you go into the scouting report coming into this game, you would know that the Eagles ran cover 2 at one of the lowest rates in the league. Under 3% of snaps, the Eagles played cover 2 coming into this game. On Sunday night, though, they ran it more than any team in the NFL in Week 7. Over a third of the time, they played cover 2. A huge changeup from defensive coordinator Sean Desai. That plants that seed of doubt, because now Tua was not expecting cover 2. He's got to drop back. He gets late in the progression, and he throws an incomplete pass to slot receiver Braxton Berrios. He's lucky this wasn't picked off. If this ball had been a little further outside, Big Play Slay has taken this the other way and might take it to the house. The Eagles defense did a great job of mixing and matching their looks. They played a ton of zone coverage. Sometimes they played some man. You saw them double team Tyreek Hill at times, but the constant change of what Tua was seeing on 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down, red zone, midfield, the Eagles constantly changed those looks up, because if they became predictable, that's where Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle could create some of those big plays. It wasn't a perfect night, but they were able to hold the Miami Dolphins to one of their lowest outputs of the last 2 seasons under Mike McDaniel. Huge credit to Sean Desai and the defensive coaching staff, and certainly to the players on the back end for executing a well-orchestrated game plan. That play, a great example of just that. So there you have it. 5 plays that helped explain why the Eagles were able to get this big win on Sunday night. For more, make sure you tune into Eagles Game Plan. We're going to get you ready for Eagles Commanders here in week number 8.